Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everybody is having a great week. It is Thursday, the 24th of February. I hope everybody's having a great week. For you guys, my Last of Us video should be available here in another 45 minutes, part 4. And shortly after this video, I record it. I'm going to go ahead and start bulk recording some of The Last of Us, try to get ahead of schedule for you guys. But I want to go and get into some more NBA and NBA talk and just continue to have some fun with the NBA. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into hearing what Brian Windhorst has to say about the second half of the season.
So I know you have an article coming out on ESPN.com about all the comments that LeBron made over the weekend at the All-Star game, from potential return to Cleveland and not shutting the door, maybe playing with his son. But all this has question marks now surrounding his relationship and what's going to happen with the Lakers. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I think it's important to understand that regardless of what LeBron said, and he said a lot and has done a lot with passive-aggressive stuff on social media, from what I understand, it's not that he wants to leave the Lakers. I know that you could make that leap, but that's not what he wants. What he wants is the Lakers to be much more aggressive with the roster when it comes to this summer, because they did nothing at the trade deadline, which not only upset him, but surprised him, because from what I understand, he thought they were going to make some sort of significant move to help them. And then Anthony Davis goes down, and there's nothing there on the roster that was brought in to help weather the storm. We could argue whether the Lakers could have done anything to do that, but that's the way LeBron felt. So what he's been talking about and doing in these last 10 to 15 days is really more aimed at the Lakers being put on notice for this summer, when he is expecting significant changes to the roster.
But the thing is, in that it's an issue when it comes to LeBron, is not just LeBron, but his little group, his representatives, is that you have Anthony Davis, who is constantly getting injured. You have Westbrook, who has not played his best basketball ever. Like, this is like one of his worst years. What else are you going to do to get a better roster outside of trading bench pieces that are making minimum wage for other bench pieces that are going to make minimum wage? Is he willing to trade away? This is like what he just said, is his way of saying, you guys didn't do anything during the summer or this past trade deadline. This summer, I need you guys to do something. Is he suggesting that they should trade away Anthony Davis? Is he suggesting that they should trade away Westbrook for that John Wall deal that they've done before, and now they possibly could be doing it in the upcoming summer? Is he willing to do that? That I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers do move on from either Westbrook or Anthony Davis. To me, trading away both would not be a bad suggestion, for the simple fact that Anthony Davis is constantly getting injured. He came back for like 5 games, got injured again, and he's been hurt constantly ever since they won the NBA championship. And Westbrook needs to be especially traded because the scheme that he's playing in when it comes to the Lakers is just not working for them in general. He's needs to have a significantly fast team, great three-point shooters, good defenders, just a whole good roster, just like LeBron James, but the chemistry with LeBron and him is just not going to work in the end.
Wendy, speaking of weathering the storm, the Suns find themselves trying to do exactly that, as they found out Chris Paul has that thumb injury to his non-dominant hand. Cam Payne is coming off injury. When he gets back into that lineup, he will be expected to elevate his performance. Of course, you got Aaron Holiday, who they acquired at the trade deadline. But how does this Phoenix Suns squad weather the storm without future Hall of Famer Chris Paul for the next 6 to 8 weeks?
This was a big blow. I talked to Chris Paul on Saturday about it. He was not really able to say what the injury was.
Yeah,
but
he always does that.
So I knew he was not going to be bouncing right back from after the All-Star break.
Ooh, when it hurt his hand against Tate.
He didn't have a more serious injury that needed surgery, because he's already had 4 surgeries on his hand and wrist, including last summer. And he said to me that his hand surgeon is practically a member of his family right now. So he was relieved that, it's a 6 to 8 week injury, but he should be back. Now, the Suns have a 6.5 game lead on the Warriors for the #1 seed in the West. But they Chris Paul has been so awesome this season in the clutch. They are one of the greatest clutch, at least regular season teams that I've ever seen, and certainly one of the best in the last generation in the NBA. So the question is, without that clutch general, can they keep this lead? And I would point out that this is an incredible opportunity for Devin Booker. Devin will have the eyes of the league on him now without Chris. And the reason this is relevant, if he can play and keep his play up at all-star level, keep the Suns playing at a high level, I think it would cement his case to make All-NBA. And making All-NBA is a huge deal for Devin Booker this season because it would pave the way for him to qualify for a super max contract this offseason. We're talking $70-ish million difference if he were to be willing to sign that. Actually, you could say Devin Booker has a good opportunity here.
Yeah, and Chad, I do want to make a correction. Misspoke, said non-dominant
That's the thing. Oh,
hand. Clearly, it is the dominant hand in which that thumb injury is for Chris Paul.
Okay, fair enough. So let's go from the West.
okay. So she said it was non-dominant, but it was dominant. Either way, that still hurts them quite a bit. You have Aaron Holiday. I do like that move. It was a minor little move that they had to trade. Can't remember who they traded away or such, but that was a great pickup for them. Again, with Chris Paul being out, that's going to be huge for them. And Cameron Payne coming back from his injury will help them get a boost while he's gone. And then you have Aaron Holiday as a backup. I like that move a lot. Devin Booker asking me intriguing if he does get that super max, because there's only so much depth that you have as a roster, and there's certain players that are going to want certain amount of money, and so I don't blame Devin Booker if he were to want that money, because he's proven to be one of the best upcoming stars in the league. And I hope Chris Paul gets to being healthy again, because he is one of my favorite players as of now, and probably one of my favorite players of all time. He's a great player. Easily probably top 5 point guards of all time. I have nothing in particular. Chris Paul, John Stockton, Steve Nash, Mark Jackson, and Magic Johnson is like a top 5. Probably even Oscar Robertson's in that mix with that top 6. But I hope he gets to feeling better and gets that injury taken care of, because this has been nagging at him since right before last year's playoffs. So this could be a consistent injury, and if that does, that's going to hurt his legacy, because I would like to see him win an NBA championship.
That's now to the East, which feels like it's basically up for grabs at this point, right? Like the Heat, the
Yeah.
Bulls, the Bucks, the Cavs, all kind of hovering around the top. In this second half now of the NBA season, is there a storyline out of the East you want to keep an eye on, Wendy?
Well, I think it's important to find out when Ben Simmons is going to play. That's a key one, because that's still unclear. Also, let's keep an eye on Zach LaVine and his knee. Now, this kind of, I felt, flew under the radar over the weekend. But as soon as Zach LaVine was available to the media, I immediately went to talk to him about his knee. He missed 3 games last week when he was out in Los Angeles seeing a knee specialist. And I said, well, what happened out there? And he said, well, I got PRP, platelet-rich plasma. I got a cortisone shot, and I got my knee drained, but now I'm good. And I was like, whoa, those 2 things don't always seem to go together.
No.
He obviously felt good enough to go play in the All-Star game. He felt good enough to throw down like a reverse dunk within like about a minute of himself being on the court. But you got to worry, if you're a Bulls fan, what's going on with that knee, and will it be okay as the season goes on? The Bulls are right there at the top next to the Miami Heat. It's going to take a lot to defend that position. They're going to want home court in this playoff. So I guess he said his knee is feeling better. I guess if that's good news, but it's obviously something to keep an eye on and be worried about.
The Bulls, a team that have.
And that's probably going to be the end of the video. He's probably not going to say much more. We'll wait here in a second. I'll talk after that.
It really feels like health is the only thing that could hold these Bulls back from taking that next step.
Luckily, they'll get Alex Caruso. Hopefully, Lonzo Ball back in the mix here shortly. Brian Windhorst, thanks for the time as always.
Okay, let's go back. So we got all 3 of these commentators about this circumstance for the Bulls. I remember whenever Dirk Nowitzki, he had his knee drained. It was, again, he was a lot older. He was towards the end of his career that he had his knee drained, and it was going to take him a couple weeks. But luckily, Zach LaVine's only like 26, 25 years old. Might be even 27. Somewhere around that age, mid-20s, that he's got time now off after playing that All-Star game, that he's going to be able to sit back, rest up that knee, because I hope that he can stay healthy for the Bulls. Then DeMar DeRozan, that's going to be a hell of a play. This playoffs for the East got significantly better since back when LeBron was in the East. The East got a lot better. The Bulls, the Nets, the 76ers, the Bucks, the Heat. There's some great teams out there. I don't know who to pick yet. We'll see as the season, towards the end of the season, whenever we see the playoffs, actual seeding starts to fall in place. I'll probably do a NBA predictions and show off the bracket and see who I pick. Who do I picture winning the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference? With all that being said, guys, I'm in this video right here, and I'll talk to you guys later.